The perfectly fitted massive limestone slabs on the bottom of the Bahamas are not at all the natural cracking of the rock, as modern geophysics stubbornly assures us. Academic science is trying its best to hide the inconvenient truth lying right off the coast of North Bimini at a ridiculously shallow depth of only 5 meters. There, under the mass of salt water, hides a real, multi-kilometer highway of a highly developed civilization, which was ruthlessly swallowed by the ocean in just one catastrophic night. Remember what is written in your history textbooks. We are taught that complex engineering structures are the monopoly of our era, and before that, humanity only chipped away at stones. But in September 1968, zoologist and diver Manson Valentine plunged into the crystal-clear waters of the Atlantic and forever destroyed this illusion. A monumental structure appeared before his eyes. 2 parallel paths paved with rectangular and polygonal blocks, each weighing up to 15 tons. This did not look like a chaotic pile of reefs. The stones lay in strict lines, forming perfect right angles, as if aligned by a giant laser level. The reaction of official institutions was immediate. Oceanographic departments hastily equipped their own expeditions, but not at all to study the incredible discovery. Their task was to discredit the find. Reports poured into the press, signed by venerable geologists, assuring the public that what they saw was ordinary beachrock, a coastal formation. Geologist Eugene Shin published a scathing article, claiming that the cracks in the rock formed naturally, under the influence of the sun and tides thousands of years ago. But let's expose the double bottom of these soothing oceanographic reports. Look at a typical cross-section of sedimentary rock and compare it with the Bimini blocks. Official researchers took samples exclusively from the upper, erosion-damaged layer. They deliberately ignored what was hidden under the massive slabs at the very bottom. Independent researchers, such as Dr. Greg Little, decided to go further and conducted large-scale underwater excavations, breaking through meter-thick layers of bottom sediments. What they discovered under the first row of stones shocked even the most hardened skeptics. The Bimini Road turned out to be a multi-tiered engineering structure. The huge blocks did not lie on bare sand. They rested on wedge-shaped stone supports that leveled the angle of inclination of this colossal highway. Nature does not use a system of jacks to level tectonic plates. This is the clear, undeniable signature of an intelligent designer possessing knowledge of higher mathematics and the strength of materials. But even more frightening data came from the results of independent chemical and microscopic examinations. Laboratory analysis revealed technology completely inaccessible to the Stone Age. On the lower, erosion-protected layers of the limestone slabs, distinct traces of machine grinding were found. Deep, perfectly even grooves from a high-speed circular tool. Moreover, between the blocks of the second tier, experts found traces of an unknown composite binding solution, many times superior in strength to modern Portland cement. The composition of this cement included metallurgical slag and microscopic inclusions of rare alloys. This is absolutely uncharacteristic of the coral ecosystem of the entire Caribbean basin. Where did the waste of high-temperature metallurgy come from on the ocean floor in the supposed Neolithic era? The academic elite prefer to answer this inconvenient question with icy silence. The investigation of this archaeological detective story inexorably leads to the doors of one of the most powerful scientific corporations, the famous Smithsonian Institution. Back in the 70s of the last century, a closed naval expedition was sent to this area. Their equipment recorded magnetic anomalies of colossal power. A few miles from the Bimini Road, sonars detected something even more grandiose. Underwater pylons, the height of a 9-story building, and the ruins of colossal structures. This architecture possessed a frighteningly regular geometry. Stepped terraces, right angles, and cyclopean walls, built of megaliths in no way inferior to the famous trilithon of Baalbek. What did the Smithsonian Institution do? It promptly confiscated all sonar images. The data was classified under the pretext of protecting the strategic interests of national security at sea. Any attempts by independent divers to penetrate this zone was strictly suppressed by the Coast Guard. The finds were declared military objects, and the extracted artifacts vanished without a trace into the vaults. Dr. David Zink, a participant in early dives, stated that he found a stone head sculpture near the road, stylistically reminiscent of unknown pre-Columbian artifacts. This find could have become a bridge between civilizations, but it was cold-bloodedly confiscated by representatives of official departments right on the pier after the ship docked. Why is the dogmatism of the academic elite so cruel? The answer lies not just in a lazy reluctance to rewrite school history textbooks. The reason is much deeper and more terrifying. Recognizing the Bimini Road as an artificial object destroys the entire linear chronology of humanity. But most importantly, it forces us to admit the true mechanism of the death of this civilization. The road could not have been built underwater. During the last ice age, the ocean level was lower, but the Great Bahama Bank never subsided so smoothly. Geological fractures of the plates and the nature of the damage to the supports say only one thing: the sinking of the Bimini Road to the seabed happened catastrophically fast. It was an instant deflection of the Earth's crust, a monstrous tectonic shift that plunged a huge area of land into the abyss of the ocean in just a few hours. The perfectly flat highway split under the pressure of millions of tons of water when the lithospheric plate suddenly lost its geological support in the Earth's mantle. Imagine the scale of this tragedy. Highly developed infrastructure, cities, transport arteries, all this disappeared into the darkness, leaving not a single chance for salvation. And this is exactly what official science panics about. To admit the cyclical nature of such global catastrophes means to sign off on their own absolute helplessness before the forces of the planet. By hiding the truth about Bimini, institutions are trying to preserve the illusion of stability in our world. The illusion that we live in an absolutely safe and predictable era. But nature does not obey academic dogmas written in offices. And now, in our days, we are beginning to notice frightening parallels with the events of that distant past. Pay attention to modern climate anomalies, the sharp melting of glaciers, inexplicable changes in the Gulf Stream current right above the Bahama Bank, and temperature jumps. Seismologists record atypical tension in the deep-water Puerto Rico Trench. Micro-earthquakes, where there have been none for millennia, are becoming our new, alarming norm. All this is not just the consequences of the notorious global warming. These are physical markers that colossal masses of the Earth's crust are again in motion. Studying cross-sections of bottom sediments around the Bimini Road, independent geologists found traces of a sharp release of methane, which always precedes a global tectonic rupture. Today, Satellites record similar releases of methane hydrate on the bottom of the Atlantic. The pressure inside the planet is inexorably building up, looking for a weak spot for a new breakthrough. The ocean floor, hiding the ruins of a perished, highly developed civilization, is preparing for a new tectonic shift. A shift that can exactly repeat the scenario of a millennium ago. We are walking on a thin shell of cooled magma, naively believing that our concrete megalopolises will stand for an eternity. But the stones of Bimini prove otherwise. Their engineers were also confident in their unsurpassed technologies. They used composite concrete, machine cutting of stone, and built monumental highways for ages. And where are these highways now? They lie at a depth of 5 meters, covered with corals, silt, and the arrogant disdain of those who write history textbooks for us. The silence of the Smithsonian Institution and the aggressive refutations of various antiquities councils are not just scientific conservatism. This is an animal fear of the inevitable. If we openly admit that a great civilization was wiped off the face of the earth overnight due to a crustal deflection, we will have to face the truth. We will have to realize that the timer of a new catastrophe has already been started. And we, perhaps, are the last generation that can still look down on these ruins. The Bimini Road is not just another archaeological curiosity from the news. It is a stone monument to human vulnerability and a silent, formidable warning from the abyss of time. The question is not whether there were highly developed civilizations on Earth before us. The question is how much time ours has left before the solid ground once again slips from under our feet. The truth is safely hidden under a layer of sand and ocean water. But how long can we close our eyes to it before the ocean itself comes to our doorsteps?